actually playing team with jungle and went 0-8 and lost the game alone.
My stomach is going boom and I'm becoming like a little bit dizzy.
Kind of big, because I used to have like
really
when
small?
when I was small, I had a small one. This is actually a hard question. I thought you're gonna throw. Probably underrated. I think it's important to stream and improve your social media.
I think it's overrated because during the season there's so much other stuff that we have to do, so it's a bit hard to juggle the two, I guess. When it's not season, I think it's pretty underrated. It's a good way to connect with the fans.
In competitive, overrated, because it's hard to make your AD carry not die a few times. And in solo queue, probably underrated. I think it's one of the best picks you can carry the games with.
If it's Hylissang Pike, it's pretty underrated, but if it's anyone else's Pike, then it's pretty overrated. So
I don't think it's overrated or underrated. It's just a strong pick that it can win you the game, but sometimes it can lose you the game, so you need to pick it carefully.
in the beginning when Galio came up, I didn't know what to do against it. So I thought it was really underrated and super broken. But then I realized you just have to take cleanse, or I really realized that you just have to take cleanse, and he told me. Now I think it's a bit overrated because it can't really engage, and if it cannot engage, then what's the point of the champion? Not sure if they're under or overrated at all. I think they're just a good team. Probably the team that's going to wait for us in the finals.
OG have cut down Fnatic and will find themselves in a rematch versus G2.
Yeah, I agree. I think they're underrated because they didn't really show what they can do with Mikex when he was in his full potential. I mean, it's hard to say underrated, right? Because he's
Seen as the best player in the West.
Yeah, exactly. He's the best mid laner.
Normally I would say underrated, but everyone already thinks he's the best, so I guess you can only really say overrated and try to point out a few flaws. For example, waking up in the morning and not feeling it and running it down for an entire day. That's a flaw of his.
That's true.
But it's like, it's a stupid flaw, you know? It doesn't make him like a bad player or anything. It's just sometimes he wakes up in the morning and doesn't feel it. And I think one of the games that we played against him, the second game that we played against him, with the hype game, I could feel in his way of playing that he was not feeling it mentally. And he was running it down a little bit, so.
Underrated.
Yeah, really
Very
underrated.
underrated. He's not the player that needs attention for him to carry. That's something different than Caps, and it's pretty good for our team because we have everyone that can carry and doesn't need attention. So
He's insanely good and he works really hard. Like, I never see him not playing League of Legends or watching VODs or researching champions. It's always League of Legends for him, and even though he does it more quietly than Caps did and you don't necessarily see it so much from the outside, he's still putting in the same work, doing the same things. So for me, he's just like a really great player. It took us a little bit longer to get used to him because of the fact that he doesn't speak as much, but just a great player in my mind.
I mean, it has to be underrated, no?
Yeah,
It's pretty strong.
I think it's actually super OP.
Yeah.
But
it's hard. It sounds so easy, but it's actually hard to not int it and make it viable because you can die so easily.
like, my Tarek was so bad. It's actually crazy.
You won the game. You won the game with 0-8 bot lane or something.
Yeah.
That's so Tarek. You die 10 times. It doesn't matter if you have a strong mentor, you win the game.
It's really overrated because what usually happens for me is that I crave it insanely much when I'm not eating it, and then as soon as I start eating it, I feel bad, or I don't want to have it anymore. It will never be like I finished the thing. It's just not possible because at some point I just feel like my stomach is going boom and I'm becoming like a little bit dizzy.
It's really tempting, and I need it also. I try to stop it, chocolate for example, and I can't. So I'll say underrated because it's really nice to have. So how can you say overrated to chocolate?
I'd probably say overrated. The kind of scaling right now that is successful is the scaling that has like a 2-item power spike, and I think that's the scaling that you currently need because the games don't really go on for 4 or 5 items anymore. So in my mind, the meta is just so punishing. Like if you play too much scaling and you lose your plates early or a couple of drakes, then even if you're stronger at 30 minutes, the game just won't go on for that long. So there's no point in doing it in the first place.
I would say underrated. I've always thought that NA as a region taken so much bad comments, like they're bad and they're like, obviously like Europe is better region, but I think NA is pretty good. Like they have pretty good teams, so I think the scooter is kind of nice. I use it from time to time and I have one, so I would say underrated.
When I was younger, I had one of those. What did you call it? A scooter?
Yeah.
And the rollerblades, and I just thought the rollerblades were more fun because I could play fake hockey or whatever you call it, outdoor hockey. I used to do that with my friends.
That sounds actually pretty nice. But you know, the scooters improved quite a lot. Like mine even has a brake.
Okay, yeah, no, mine didn't
And
have
it's
that.
kind of big because I used to have like
The really
when
small
I
one?
was when I was small, I had a small one. You know,
Yeah, that's what I
it
had.
was really bad. You know, like I hate it when it hits my legs
Yep.
because it spins when you
Yeah.
lift it and it hits you in the leg. And you're like so painful. But right now, like they're big and with bigger wheels and they have a brake,
Okay,
so they're pretty potent.
so it's like a mini bike.
Yeah, kind of.
Probably underrated. I think not only do you get to play more games, which is a good thing. If you make top 2, then it's really nice because you get a second chance or go straight to the finals. I think just like playing that Saturday into the potential Sunday is super cool, you know, to play on the Saturday in front of everyone and then have all this hype coming into the Sunday and have the fans, the same people there again on the Sunday as well to cheer for us.
I agree. Underrated, I guess.
I'll probably say underrated. I feel like even when we were losing games in the beginning, some of them were like really close. It wasn't like we were getting stomped in every game. It was just like we had a few stomps. That was like the only thing that the fans could think about. But for example, we might as well have won the game against SK. We might as well have won against Vitality. I think we played pretty early on as well. So even though we were 3-7 and it looked horrible, we might as well have been like 5-5. And then we were just getting better and better, you know. So I didn't really expect us to come out, you know, crazy good since we had to change a couple of members.
I guess I would say underrated for the same reasonings that we could have won more games in the beginning, even though we looked like really bad as a team. I feel like we lost most of the games at like level 1, like stuff. But so did we win a lot of games at level 1 as well. So underrated. That Inter that was actually playing Teemo Jungle and went 0-8 and lost the game alone. I don't mean of this one when I say the Dirt Inters are important, but the ones that are not afraid to trade aggressively and give their life for a good trade in your team and not hesitate as well. So I think this type of players are quite important and it probably gave some advantage to your team even though you have a death on your screen.
Honestly, I feel like I've been through so many dirty inters now over the years that it's like a part of me to be one myself, so I'd probably say underrated too. I feel like it's good, you know, like playing aggressive and taking risks and putting yourself out there. I think it's good. Regardless of what role you play, it's good to try to move the game forward rather than backwards. And I wouldn't have said this 4 years ago, but now I've been through so many dirty inters that I feel like I'm one myself.